5 major pieces to the life puzzle. Right? Because lately I've been trying to figure this thing out, this thing called life, and I told you yesterday it's extremely hard, but if you do what's hard, your life will be easy. But if you do what's easy, your life will be hard. So the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle, and what it is, just putting the pieces together. Putting the pieces together, and I think 5 major things that we should all be studying and considering. I think some people, they don't do good because they major in minor things, right? So I just want to spend major time on the things that really matter. And to me, these are the 5 things that I think matter the most. All right. So success is not doing 5,000 things good, right? It doesn't mean that you can do 5,000 things, right? Success is just doing like a half a dozen things. You do those 5,000 times and you do it good, right? That's what success is. It's the small daily disciplines. It's the small things that we can do. And the number one thing that I think that we should all look at is our philosophy, right? And philosophy, this is what you know. What you know, all right? And I think more importantly is what we don't know, right? Philosophy is what we know, but it's also what we don't know. And what you don't know, it can't hurt you, right? They say that ignorance is bliss. No, it's not. Ignorance is pain. Ignorance is poverty. Ignorance is, you get a bad deal, you get a bad interest rate or something. If you're ignorant towards some things, right, then it's not good for you to not know, right? I think in our philosophy, what we know and what we don't know, if we're looking to the future, we always got to weigh, if we're going to buy something, you got to weigh it out. You got to know, hey, man, can I spend major time on this? Is this something that important that I should do? Make your purchases, make whatever you're going to buy, weigh it out. Weigh it out. Is this going to take me a lot of time? Like, am I going to be wasting major time on some minor things? Weigh before you pay. And that's the reason for coming to classes. That's the reason why the book is this thick, right? It's the reason why we listen to audio programs. And, I heard somebody listening to Les Brown this morning, and I was like, right on, right? Those small little things that, that if I listen to this in the morning, it's going to control my day. Right? I know that if I listen to something positive in the morning, it's going to help me out, right? And I'm willing to pay that price because I know what that weighs. I know that if I listen to a good audio program in the morning, that it's going to help me out throughout my day. I know on the other hand, too, that if I listen to like some hate rap music or, maybe I'm fighting with my girl or something like that, that weighs something too, right? I listen to Chris Brown and be like, deuces. And later time when we're fighting or something, that's what I got playing in the back of my mind. I'm just like, I don't really hear this stuff right now. I'm looking for somebody better, right? But that stuff, it weighs, right? So weigh it before you pay it, right? Time for what you think about. Now, this is what you know. This is education, right? Some people might start with motivation. I don't think that's where you start. Right, we don't stand up here on Monday morning, be waving a big old flag in the air. We don't do that, right? Some guys would be like, hey, Dan, you're good at motivating. Why don't you just motivate him? He'll be all right. I said, no, well, what if the guy's an idiot? ¿Qué crees si es un idiota? Right? What if the guy's an idiot and I motivate him? Then you just got a motivated idiot. He's running out there. He don't know what to do, right? So we don't start with motivation. You got to start with education. Right, the things that you know. More importantly, the things that you don't know, right? Because there's major philosophies out there, wealth philosophies, right? Like the richest man in Babylon, it'll save 1/10 of everything that you earn. Right, if I put a big old basket of apple, an empty basket right here, and every morning I filled it up with 10 apples. At nighttime, I only took out 9. Filled it up with 10, took out 9. Filled it up with 10, took out 9. What would happen? Yeah, it would be overflowing with apples. And the thing is that that would happen to your bank account. If that every time you got paid, $1,000, but you only used 900, they paid you 1,000, you use 900, you get paid 1,000, only use 900, your bank account would be overflowing with money, right? But it's the stuff even when you're not in school, right? When you're not in school, they don't demand it. Society doesn't demand it. It doesn't want you. Like it's almost a joke for you to save money. It's almost a joke because they got these big old banners out there, with the guy, hey, 90 days, same as cash. 90 days, same as cash. Right? You know how many of those get paid off in 90 days? 0. Right? It's a gimmick. They want your signature. Right? So that's why we come to school, right? For see if there's any errors in our judgment, right? If the guy, he's spending all his book money, if he's spending it on donuts, right? In the last year, he's got 2,000 donuts, but he's only got 2 books, right? That might be an error in judgment. Right? It might be some things that we might want to look at. And what can a 15-year-old do? What can a 15-year-old do to ensure that he's rich by 40? Learn from other people's mistakes. That's a philosophy right there, right? What can you do at 15 to make sure that you're rich by 40, right? But the kid says, right, it's only $10, right? Well, that's when it starts. That's when it starts, when the amounts are low, right? You got to start when the amounts are low. Some people, they find it interesting, that 8 people would come into this room and listen to me talk for a whole week, right? But this isn't where I started. I started out in the field. I started when the amounts were small, right? That's when you got to start. I started, talking, trying to translate back then in my awkward ways, right? And didn't know how to teach, but I was still doing it. I was still coaching. I had the baseball team and stuff. I didn't know how to coach, but I went out there and I did it.
¿Has escuchado de Cacería de Dragones?
No. Cacería de
Dragones.
No. Menos que echa la otra que me dijiste. ¿Qué era?
De Cacería de Dragones es lo que está más o menos hablando ahorita. En filosofía.
Yeah, this is one of the major things, your philosophy, right? I don't know where it all goes. Right, you ever hear that saying? I don't know where it all goes. I get my check, but I don't know where it all goes. Right? Have you ever heard that? Mm-hmm. Right? That right there is a philosophy, right? And if you don't get that in check, right? Hey, well, I don't know where it all goes. Well, hell, we'd love to have you run the company. Right? We'd love to have you run the union. Right? You don't know where it all goes, right? So that's when you got to tighten it up, when you don't have that much. Right? Now's the time to fix it, when the kid's 15, not when he's 40 and he's starving, right? So, these are tough questions to ask, right? The good wealth philosophies, the philosophies that like health philosophies, right? One on wealth, one on health, right? An apple a day will keep the doctor away. I mean, that means, you can't just eat everything but apples, right? That's not healthy for you either. But it's saying, keep an eye on what you eat. Watch what you put into your mouth. Nobody's doing it to you, right? Nobody's pouring that liquor down your throat. You're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So, these are tough questions, right? And when should you do better? When should the 15-year-old do better?
Right now, at 40.
Right now, as soon as you get the information. As soon as you get the good information, that's when you start doing better. And keep it going. Start right there, and then you got to keep it going. It's small daily disciplines, right? So, number 1 is the philosophy. Number 2, and your philosophy is going to affect your attitude. Second thing is the attitude. And the attitude, this is a choice, right? As soon as you start knowing the information, as soon as you start thinking about it, then your attitude's going to change, right? Attitude is a product of your philosophy, right? How do you feel? Right? How do you feel? right? Your attitude, the way you feel about something, it's going to affect your attitude, right? You come into the class, you know, and you feel like, oh man, this is going to be a shitty class. Guess what? Yeah, it's going to be shitty, right? But if you feel, oh man, this is going to be good, I'm going to get something out of this, right? That affects your attitude. Attitude is affected on how we feel, right? And your philosophy is going to determine your attitude, if you feel bad or if you feel good, right? Another attitude might be, if this is all they pay, if that's all my company pays, I'm not showing up early. I'm not staying late, right? That's an attitude, right? But the other attitude says, hey, if this is what they pay, then I'm going to show up early. If this is what they pay, I'm going to stay late, right? And it's an attitude, and the attitude is a choice, right? Your attitude, the way you feel about something, that's a choice, right? You can either choose to stay early or, you know, come early or stay late. You can choose to get there late and roll up early, and that's all part of your attitude, right? But our emotions are powerful, right? The way you feel about something is powerful. You got to take your emotions to school. Take them to school, right? Like, we're adults now, you know, attitude is a choice, but your emotions, they got to go to school. That way you can make an educated choice, right? One thing, you know, people get pulled back by the past, right? But don't get pulled back by the past. Use your past as a teaching tool, right? Use the stuff that you've gone through, you know, and some of you guys are young. You know, maybe you don't have that much of a past, but I know that there's been trials, there's been tribulations, there's been some stuff that you've gone through, right? So use your past as a teaching school, right? Tough school maybe, but, you know, use it, right? So how do you feel about the past, right? Because that could weigh heavy on your attitude. How do you feel about the future, right? Do you have promise in the future? Do you have something that you're looking forward to? How do you feel about that? Because how you feel about the future, that's really going to affect what you do in your performance, on the way that you show up every single day. Do you think it's going to be a good future? Do you think it's going to be good for you? Right? Why not? It's your choice. It's your choice, whether you think it's going to be good or not.
It's what you make of it.
It's what you make of it. Absolutely. Right? There's two ways to look at the future. You can either look at the future with anticipation, like, man, I can't wait for this to come, right? I can't wait for this day to come. Or you can look at it with apprehension.
Like, what else is next?
What else is next? Ah, damn, like your kid's birthday party's coming up or something like that. You could look forward to that party. Or you could be like, oh man, this party's going to put me in debt. Right?
Yeah, fuck,
And
man.
it's all attitude,
Yeah,
right?
man.
So how you feel about the future, right? Anticipation or apprehension. Have it well designed. Have a future well designed, right? What do you want to be? What do you want to see? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? Right? Have the future well designed. Have a clear picture of your future, right? And this is going to determine how your day goes. Right? You can have a clear picture to the future, and it's going to pull you through all kinds of stuff. If you got a reason why you're getting up in the morning, you got a house or something that you want to achieve, you got a dollar amount or something that you want to get through, that's going to get you through when the superintendent's yelling at you, when the foreman, he's making mistakes and you know it's wrong, but he's still like, adamant on, hey, you got to do it this way, right? The attitude that's going to pull you through all kinds of stuff. Have a clear picture of your future. Got to have a purpose. How do you feel about each other? Right? How do you feel about the people that you work around? How do you feel about your environment? Right? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about yourself? Right? Your self-esteem. Right? Self-esteem is created from doing the small daily disciplines, taking care of the small daily things that you know you could be doing. You could be walking around the block for your physical health. Right? You could be doing that. And if you're not, then you don't feel that good about yourself. Right? You could be watching your diet, you could be watching the stuff that you're putting in your mouth, but you're not. You don't feel that good about yourself. Self-confidence comes from doing the small daily disciplines. All right? So how you feel about yourself, you got to be smart enough to look down the road, right? If I keep doing this, what is my future going to look like? Right? Because life is accumulative. If you do, small daily things, that's going to accumulate and it's going to pay off in the end. If you're saving a little bit every time you get paid, that'll pay off in the end, right? It's accumulative. the other hand too, you know, if you're eating McDonald's every day after work, and that's your diet, is that's what you're gonna eat every day, you know, that's accumulative too. Eventually you're gonna blow up, you're gonna, you know, some things are gonna happen to you. So life is accumulative, right? But gotta be smart enough to look down into the future, right? Engage in the disciplines that are gonna add value to you. And if you're not engaged, then you don't feel good, right? Here's the ant philosophy. The ant philosophy says is get all that you can. In the summertime, when the ants, they're collecting food for the wintertime, they're getting all that they can. Get all that you can, right? Read as much as you can, get as much money as you can, travel as many places as you can. That's the ant philosophy, is get all that you can, and then do the best that you can, right? So number 1 is philosophy, number 2 is attitude, number 3 is activity. As much as you learn and as much as your attitude changes, then you got to take action, right? Success is doing. What you do is more important than what you're philosophical about this, right? You got all these good ideas, but if you don't take action, it doesn't do anything for you. Success is in the doing, right? And you got to decide how much to do it, right? You can't give somebody a task, you know, and be like, 5 minutes later, check up on them. Hey, how you guys doing on that? It's got to take time, right? You can't give somebody a task and then wait 5 years to ask them, right? Because then that's too long, right? So you got to know how to measure, right? How long should I work? How hard should I work, right? And I don't know if you guys are into the Bible or not, but there's a success formula in the Bible. It says 6 days labor, 1 day rest, right? And that's from the Old Testament, so I know that's pretty old, right? So maybe it's 5 and 2, but you got to be able to weigh, right? You got to know, right? Maybe 5 and 2 works for you.
5 and 3 are really working.
Yeah, 4 and 3, you know, maybe it's 4 and 3 for some of us, right? But, you know, here's another phrase. It says, don't rest too long. Don't take too much time off, right? Don't rest too long, right? You want to make rest a necessity, not an objective, right? And the question you should be asking, you know, what is it that I can do? Because I want to do all that I can do. I want all I can do to be successful. I want all I can do to be a good father. I want to do all that I can do, you know, to teach and to learn and to do, you know, do it with all your might. Do it with all your might, right? Try your best. Do your best that you can, right? Because your best will be enough, right? The guy says, I'm making 50 grand a year. You know, my bills are paid. My family's eating. Isn't that enough? I said, yeah, if that's the best you can do. But if you can make 500,000, if you can make $500,000 in a year, right? Then it's 50 grand. Is that enough? No, because that's not the best that you can do, right? If you're doing the best that you can do, then that's enough. No one will ever challenge that, right? Doing your best, right? But is the best you can do, is that all you can do? Like if we all dropped on the ground right here and started doing push-ups, right? And maybe push-ups isn't your thing right now. You haven't been that into doing push-ups lately. And all you can do is 5.
Shit, when I was locked up, shit, I run circles and push-ups, but not no more. I got fat and lazy.
What if the best you can do is 5? Is 5 all you can do?
No.
No? Why not?
Maybe at a time.
There you go. Because you can do 5, you can rest, right? And then you can do 5 more. And then you can rest a little bit more, do 5 more, rest a little bit more, do 5 more, right? Rest a little bit more, do 10 more. Oh, what happened? Right? You're getting better, right? You can always better your best. You can always get better, right? But go as hard as you can. Do the best that you can, because your best is enough, right? 50,000 versus 250,000. It's all about the best. If the guy, he's only making 10,000 a year, but that's the best he can do, hey, that's the best that he can do. So he's all right, right? So just keep checking. You got to keep checking on if you're doing the best that you can do. Am I doing the best that I can do, you know, in my finances? Am I doing the best that I can do in my health? Am I doing the best that I can at my job? Am I doing the best that I can at home? Right? Success is in activity. So keep checking your activities. Now, we're going to add up these first three so we can get to number 4. And number 4 is results. Okay, and this is what we're all after. Right? You add up the first 3, that way you can get to results. Right? Put the first 3 together to get number 4. And results is the name of the game. This is it. Results. Right? Putting it all together. Right? Measurable progress in reasonable time. Right? Measurable progress in reasonable time. Right? We want to see you make progress. Right? We don't. What is reasonable time? How long do you want your kid to stay in 4th grade? Approximately. Yeah.
8 months.
Yeah, 1 year, right? Maximum, right? What if he's a good kid? What if he's handsome and smart? Do we give him 5 years? No, right? Reasonable progress and measurable time, right? So, in order to be rich by 40, you know, if the guy, he's 45 and he still doesn't have it together yet, right? You got to ask him, hey, where have you been, man? Where have you been? What have you been doing? Right? You've been cross seas. You've been, I mean, you live in the richest land in the world. You live in America. This is the richest place in the world. Like, where have you been? What have you been doing? Right? If the guy's 45 and he comes in here and he doesn't like have it together, right? You got to ask him, right? If the farmer eats all of his seed corn instead of planting it, right? You better go to that farmer's house and take his kids from him, right? Because the kids will be in trouble, right? He's eating all his seed corn instead of planting it. He's spending all his money instead of saving it, right? Take his kids because his kids are going to be in trouble, right? So, you know, instead of eating everything that you make, right? Save a little bit of it. And you got to make these demands on yourself. It's not like anybody's going to come to your house and demand it for you. Nobody's going to say, hey, man, are you building that financial wall around your house that nobody can get through? All right, nobody's going to ask you that. Nobody's going to come, hey, are you still taking care of your physical body? You still working out and doing the thing? Nobody's asking you that. They don't care, right? Nobody's going to say, hey, man, after high school, how many books did you read?
None.
Right? Because how much do they want you to read? How much do they expect you to read?
They don't care.
0, right? It's not a demand that you read any more books, right? You got to demand it of yourself. So this is what I'm saying. You got to demand it of yourself because it's not a demand of society. The health results that you want, the wealth results that you want, the culture results that you want. Demand it of yourself.
Speaking of reading books, have you read that book, The 48 Laws of Power?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I had seen it yesterday, and I read like the first 3 pages.
Yeah.
The chapters, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like what they teach you in it.
don't outdo the master.
Yeah.
Law number 1. Yeah. No people's thumb screw. That's like the 27th law. No people's thumb screw. Everybody's got like a button you can push. Right? They've all got a vice. So figure out their vices and use that to your
It
advantage.
was talking about use people as bait or use things for like bait.
Sure.
Well, basically, the book is how to manipulate people.
Yeah.
Right?
Try
It's
to
all
make you
about
boss.
how to learn how to manipulate a
Well,
person, or what is it about?
no, it's more like kings and queens, like that time era.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's about knowing if somebody is trying to do that to you or how to defend yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
When to see the red flag and stuff like
But
that.
you can also use it for your advantage as well.
Be the
Well,
perfect
yeah.
courtier.
Yeah.
It's a 10-hour reading of it on YouTube. You got that much time.
It's worth every minute. So be busy, right? Have activity, be busy, 10 hours a day. The guy says, oh man, I'm busy, I'm exhausted. I've been working 10 hours a day. Been working 10 hours a day on what? right? Because we might be wasting some major time on minor things. You got to learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Right? You work hard on yourself, you can make a living. That's nice. But you work hard on yourself and you can make a fortune. That's super nice. I'm telling you right now, right? So read all the books.
How much you done made off of YouTube so far?
No, zero.
Zero?
Yeah. No. Health, wealth, culture, right? You got to ask yourself, are there any errors in my activities? Are there any errors in my judgment, right? Am I drinking too much? Am I smoking too much? Am I not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, right? How many errors, right? Busy 10 hours a day, but be busy on the right style, on the right types of things, right? And then the fifth thing I came up with is lifestyle. Lifestyle. How do you choose to live? Right, because this is genius, right? This is the genius of living well. Be appreciative of the things that you got. We're always striving for more. We always want more, but you want to be happy with what you got, right? Be happy with what you got while you're trying to get more. Lifestyle. Lifestyle. How do you choose to live? The genius of living well, right? You could either live with joy or you could live with animosity, right? You could be pissed off all the time or you could be happy all the time. You know, I see a kid begging for water. You know, the mom was like, nah, you can't have any water, right? And the kid begging, hey, can I have some water? You know, kids are persistent, right? Can I have some water? Can I have some water? No, it's before bedtime and you might wet the bed. No, you can't have any water. Can't have any water, right? Finally, the kid, he gives up, puts his head down, starts walking away. The mom gets the cup and throws it at the kid. Here, you want water that bad? Go get the damn water. Lifestyle, right? It's a way to live. You either live with joy or live with animosity. And this is a choice too, right? So happiness is an art. Happiness doesn't happen by accident. Happiness is an art, right? If you want to be happy, you got to study happiness. Live in style, right? To be cultured, to be well cultured and know where you come from, that's a study. Knowing, you know, that it's a shitty place, right? It's an evil place with maleficent people. You don't want to add to that. We got enough of that already. We got enough evil people, right? Try to be a little bit of light on the world instead of a blight, instead of living with all that hate inside your heart. You know, be thankful for what you got, right? Because it's not the amount. It's about the genius. It's about this genius of living well. Be happy with what you got while you're in the pursuit of something else, right? Find a way to live that are unique, right? Find some presentation styles, find some birthday styles, find something, some lifestyle, right? Genius is a living well, because there's a couple different ways to do it, right? Now, so this is a good list, right? Philosophy, what you know, what you don't know. You got to ask yourself, hey, are there some things that I don't know? Right? Maybe there is, maybe there's not, right? So number one thing, ask yourself, are there things that I don't know? And then now is the time to fix it, right? Not 10 years from now, because 10 years from now, you're going to be there, right? But don't wait 10 years to fix it. Right, you got to start now. Start when the amounts are low. Start right now. Don't wait for 10 years. Right? All right. So we got a little bit of framing to do.